We've all met him. The guy at the CE who loves to tell everyone how gifted he is at running his business. He'll often brag about how his overhead is 50%. When people ask him how he does it, he'll usually give responses like, "You got to be wise in your decisions." People usually don't know what they're talking about when it comes to overhead. This video is going to be an introduction to overhead. Welcome to another episode of Dental Fire. Don't just finance your practice, pay it off. The idea of overhead is simple enough. You have a certain amount of bills each month you have to pay before you can start making money. The lower you have to pay, the sooner you get to make money. But unfortunately, some terminology is often confused. Even the word overhead does not technically include your staff, your lab, and supply costs. In simplistic terms, overhead means those items you have to pay whether you produce a dime or not, just to have the building there and the power on. The short list includes your lease, utilities, things like your gas, internet, and electricity, insurances, things like your malpractice insurance, business insurance, and also accounting fees. What's the biggest expense on that list? You got it. It's your lease. So what's the biggest key to watch when looking at your overhead? That's right, making sure you're responsible with your lease payments. Two of the biggest mistakes I see dentists make is that they get too big of a space for their practice and that they're not represented in their lease. These two items deserve and will get their own videos. When that doctor at the CE was talking about his overhead, he really meant his overhead plus his lab and supply costs and all of the staff wages, basically everything required to run the business. But there's a major expense that's not accounted for in the general accepted accounting principles. Do you remember what it is? That's right, it's your loan payments. You need to remember that every business expense is a personal expense to you. Before you get to take home anything, you have to walk through every single expense, including your loan payments. So those numbers that are thrown around, like 50% and 70% overhead, they never include their loan payments. In other words, someone could have an overhead of 50%, make $40,000 a month, and have a $20,000 loan payments and take home nothing. So what is overhead really? Well, when it comes to look at evaluating practices to buy or how to be wise in your purchases when you start up, I want you to switch your attention from overhead to break-even. Break-even point is important. When people ask me about overhead, I always try to steer the topic back to break-even point. My overhead is 100% until I hit my break-even point. From there, I get to take home 85% of everything I make. This break-even point, it includes my loan payments. We will be talking a lot about break-even point in these videos. But the key to a healthy break-even point is not in finding the best price for gauze. A successful break-even point is created before you buy or build your practice. It is achieved by being in the right size of space, not too big, not too small. Having excellent lease terms negotiated by a professional, not spending too much to improve the space, and of course being wise in your equipment purchases. All of these items are neatly packaged every month into your lease payments and loan payments. The time to control these is before you buy. These two principal items of your break-even point will have a huge effect on the quality of life you'll have as a dentist and in your personal life. Your break-even point is one of the three main pillars of success we are going to talk about in these videos. Do not buy or build your practice before you listen to and have gone through all the information here on these videos. And also don't let your friends buy or build either before coming here first. This is Dental Fire. Don't just finance your practice, pay it off.